For a motion?
Motion is in order.
I move that we introduce RS 31715, and I'd like to speak to that motion.
Please.
Without exaggeration, I think this is the single most important piece of legislation that I've seen come before this committee in the 6 years that I've been on it. And the reason is, well, from my perspective, I did long-term strategic planning at Hewlett-Packard, and this is a piece of legislation that requires long-term thinking, and to think down the road, and what we're putting in place, not just for if and whenever legislation like this became law, but in the future. And what I was struck with, what you said early on, this is needs-based. Well, that's important because facilities are a fixed cost. They are not subject to being variably invested in year over year over year. Building fails, it needs to be replaced. And this is a fundamental disconnect we have with facilities funding the way it currently exists, is that we have fixed costs that's being somehow trying to be covered by a variable funding model for public education. This bill, in my opinion, is the first step in fixing that disparity or incongruity in regard to how we're funding schools. I look at the situation in Salmon, and it's admirable what folks have done there, and it's appalling, absolutely appalling that is the length that parents and administrators and students have to go through just to have a building that's safe and sanitary. Every student in this state, I don't care where they are, deserves to be able to go to school in facilities that the two school districts in my legislative district, Boise and West Ada, enjoy. Everyone, I don't care where you are in the state. And so for me, I want to, we have the data. You say there's $25 million in this fund. We have the OPE report that shows we need at least $1 billion to be able to just provide the basic building maintenance. So the challenge for all of us who, when everyone in this building is up for re-election every 2 years, is to be able to step back from that short-term political perspective and take a long-term business perspective in what it takes to really meet the state's obligation as confirmed by the Supreme Court. We have the responsibility. School bonds should be supplemental, not operational. And that's what we need to get to. So the question then becomes, how do we come up with the money to be able to meet our obligation? And so I'll just reiterate very quickly that, and I've mentioned it before, when we exempt over $5.2 billion every single year in sales tax exemptions that never get reviewed and never expire, if we kept 95% of them, and only 5% of them could no longer be justified because they're obsolete, that would add an additional $250 million every single year to the general fund. We could put the kind of money needed in that fund to meet the needs of these school districts, and every student can enjoy a quality education and a quality facility. So to me, this is just the single most important first step in moving in that direction. So I thank you and everyone involved during the interim committee to do the work necessary to bring this before us. Thank you.